theme is simplify. We want to simplify our budgeting. We want to simplify our saving. We can simplify our investment strategy. We even think there's some opportunities to simplify your account structure.
For sure.
Because when we look at all of the different accounts you house, we even think that we could consolidate some of those. Because right now, like, you have these two cash accounts. You have a high yield account and a CD, but you don't have a ton of cash. You've only got $22,000, and our goal is for you to have $42,000. Well, when we think about like cash management, it seems incredibly reasonable to us that you could just have a single high yield savings account that holds all your cash. So you have your checking account and you have a high yield savings account, and that's where all your merchant funds. So that $42,000, you don't have to go find different CDs and try to stretch it out and have one be 1 year and one be 5. You could just all dump it in a high yield account. And right now, high yield accounts are paying like 3 to 4%. Again, set it, forget it, and let it sit there.
Okay.
So then you have your HSA and you have your Roth IRA, you have your traditional IRA, you have your pre-tax 401k, you have your after-tax 401k. Well, one of the things that you've already said to us is that you started doing a Roth because you heard how much we love Roth, and then you make too much money for a Roth, so then you started doing a traditional. Well, one of the things that makes traditionals wonderful for high-income individuals is it does open up an opportunity to do what's called a backdoor Roth contribution, where you put money in your traditional IRA, you do not take a deduction for it, and then you can go ahead and convert those dollars to Roth completely tax-free. So every year there's a way for you to do a backdoor Roth contribution of $7,000. So when we looked at your account structure and you had that $4,000 in that traditional IRA, and now you're starting to put money in there every month, one of the things that we might recommend is, hey, go ahead and convert that $4,000 to Roth today. You're going to pay income tax on it because that's pre-tax money. But with all the new contributions in there, tell your accountant, or when you do your taxes, say these are non-deductible contributions. And so every year at the end of the year, once you've fully funded that $7,000, you can convert it to Roth, and in future years it will be completely tax-free. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
So when you do that, you're going to essentially turn your Roth IRA and your traditional IRA into one singular Roth IRA, right? So now we've consolidated those two accounts down to one.
Less accounts.
Less accounts. You tracking? I say the goal is to simplify. This one is a little more complicated, but you're gonna love us. Like, you're gonna like we're gonna tell you this.
The result in tax-free millionaire opportunity is just huge. Well, you just stumbled into this by accident by just swiping that thing over.
So you've been funding your 401k aggressively, right, for the last couple of years. And most people can only put $23,500 into their 401k, but you have been putting in like $50,000, $60,000 into yours. So you filled up the salary deferral bucket, and you've had all these dollars flowing into after tax. So when we look at your 401k right now, of that $120,000 you have, like $80,000 of it is in this after tax bucket. Do you know how the after tax bucket works inside your 401k?
No.
Okay, so here's what happens. You put money in, you do not get a tax deduction, so you still pay income tax on that money. All those investments get invested and the money grows tax deferred. And then when you go to pull that money out in retirement, you pay taxes on the earnings, but you get the money that you put in back tax free, right? Okay. So like you only have to pay on the earnings. What you actually can do, and there's a little bit of homework on here, we're going to write this down for you. You need to reach out to your 401k provider and ask them 2 questions. Say, hey, I have this after-tax 401k chunk of money. Do you guys allow for either in-service rollovers where I can pull money out of my 401k even though I'm still working, or do you allow in-service Roth conversions where I can convert that after-tax bucket into Roth? Because what's happened is of the $83,000 you have in your after-tax, I'm willing to bet something like $70,000, $75,000 of that is money that you've put in, right? So that's your contribution in. If your plan allows for in-service Roth conversions or in-service distributions, there's a good chance that right now today, or when you leave and go back to the hotel room, you can call your 401k provider and you're going to say, hey, I've got $75,000 of after-tax contributions. I want to do an in-service distribution and pull all $75,000 of that and put it in my Roth IRA. Or I want to do a conversion inside the 401k and convert it so that all $75,000 of that turns into Roth dollars. If I do that, that $75,000, not only will it be tax-free like it already was, but now all those earnings, all the money that it's going to make from now until you retire will be completely tax-free.
Beauty.
Oh, it's massive.
It's like making an $80,000 Roth contribution right now, today.
Now, the thing that I would encourage you going forward, and we'll put this in the homework notes too, whatever portion we decide is appropriate on after-tax funding, because if you have a hyper saving and we get the emergency reserves fixed, and we still chose to put some of this into this after-tax account, you do need to make a practice or a habit of converting it annually.
Okay.
Because it's back to the key point that Bo made, is that once it's converted, all the earnings are tax free.
That's right.
But right now, you're only doing part of you're only doing part of the drill. You're using this very powerful tool. You're funding it, but because it's getting invested and you never did the conversion part, all the earnings that that account has made, that $80,000. That's why we got to figure out how much is your contribution versus how much of is earnings. Also, is we have to separate those because right now all the earnings are going to be taxable to you if we converted that. Okay. The sooner you can convert it after contributions, the less time there is for it to grow and make money. So then all that earnings is tax free. They gave you the quick start guide with that slide rule, but they didn't give you the instruction manuals on how you actually optimize this to use this in the most efficient and appropriate way possible. We've got to go back and kind of clean that up, but then you've got to now have a new habit so that you can do this well in the future too.
And is there a good time, bad time, or just put that 8-type calendar reminder?
I would do it sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I would go ahead and get that knocked out. That's right. So it doesn't keep growing. Because the sooner you do it, the lower the tax bill will be.
You and Tanner have this crazy competition to see who can get to $1 million. How about who can get to be a tax-free millionaire? That's even cooler in my eyes.
This one decision, this single decision to convert that $89,000 of after-tax assets into Roth could result in $1 million by the time that you retire. It's going to be $1 million tax-free decision for you.
That's
right?
cool.
That's right?
Really
like
cool.
That's with a phone
really
call,
cool.
right? We've laid out a bunch of okay, we're going to consolidate the account structure. Let's talk about what we would recommend from a saving standpoint for you.